So this past week I had the pleasure of going to Franklin, Tennessee and attending AlignCon. Now, what is AlignCon, you might ask? Well, I thought you would never ask. AlignCon is a place for leaders who want to impact, move, and inspire from a place of true alignment and inner abundance. That's what the website says. Now, from someone who actually attended there, AlignCon was an event, a conference, right? Filled with some wonderful entrepreneurs, coaches, leaders in business and industry who just came together to come together and really find alignment in who they are and how they're going to present themselves to the world. Now, it was put on by this guy named Nick Cavuoto. If you haven't heard of him, you probably will soon. Think of him as sort of this superconnector among these sort of big league people in the entrepreneur space, like people I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Now, Nick put on something truly special and inspirational, and I had the pleasure of not only attending, but also being able to document some stuff behind the scenes, take some photos, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Hi, I'm Cameron King. Let's do this.
So it's 5:30 in the morning right now, and about to head to Nashville to go to AlignCon.
Traffic's been crazy. I've probably seen at least 10, semi trucks off the side of the road just because of the ice and people just slipping off the road. There was a few times there I was a little like kind of scared to go over bridges and stuff, but overall going pretty well. Right now I'm actually stuck in traffic. I'm guessing there is an accident up ahead or somebody slipped off the road or something, but almost to Franklin.
How did we get here? How did I come to know Nick? How did I even get involved with this conference and with these people? Well, let me tell you a quick story. Back in October of 2022, I went to a mastermind group. It was Mike Kim's mastermind group. Shout out to Mike Kim. We met in Nashville of all places. And there we just kind of, got together, did a whole mastermind thing together with a whole big group of people. Well, Nick swung through there and gave a little sort of Q&A with Mike. And, he just resonated with a lot of people. He resonated with me, and we went out to lunch. And that was that. That was pretty much the end of our conversation at that point. Now, a few months down the road, come December, he starts sort of waking up his social media channels, starts reaching out to people. I can see that something's starting to happen in his sphere of influence. And so I was intrigued, and I was like, okay, let me just follow along, see what's going on here. So I sent him some DMs. We DM back and forth here and there. Very casual, very cool. And eventually, I got convinced to go because he was bringing all these excellent speakers, and the theme of the entire conference about finding your alignment and your purpose and your branding and your messaging and all that stuff really felt like something I needed to go to. So I was like, man, I DM'd and I was like, hey man, you should really twist my arm to go in here. He's like, oh, it's gonna be amazing. All right, you twisted my arm. It didn't take much to convince me. And then after that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna make the best of this opportunity. So what I did after that was like, hey man, do you need anybody to help you out with any content, any taking pictures, anything like that? And we had a conversation. One thing led to another, and I was invited to create this content. So that's the short story of how this all came about. Now let's get into it. Here's some other key sort of elements, some key words that came up for me while attending the conference, listening to different speakers and just really talking among the people there. Got the words right here. We have alignment, purpose, impactful contribution, human design, resonance. Resonance is a really cool one. Here's the thing about resonance is that we live in a day and age now where everyone's truths is kind of all over the place, right? So your truth is your truth, my truth is my truth. But what really matters is actually what resonates with your audience versus what's actually true. The word resonance really resonated with me because I feel like in this day and age where everybody's kind of can have the same messaging or, have the same sort of products or modality or whatever that is, to actually have a message and to have tone and to have a brand that resonates over what's actually being said is probably more important these days than it was, a few years back. Now back to it. Next word is truth, health, wealth, freedom, and asking for help. I know you probably can't read any of my handwriting, but those are really the key themes that got brought up throughout that whole entire thing, and how we can actually become in alignment with those key things. And now, drum roll please. We're gonna get into the presentation highlights. So let's just get a bird's eye view of what everybody talked about. First of all, Nick Cavuoto, the guy who put this thing on, he talked about alignment, human design, and building your business and personal brand in alignment with who you really are. Then he dropped a lot of knowledge, and he made my head explode, because some of that stuff I've never really thought of, and it was kind of eye-opening and kind of like, oh, I got to get me some of that. Next up, we have this guy named Brett, and he talked about what you need for guaranteed results. And it's not what you think, but it's so obvious when it's all laid out. David discussed the rules for being human. He actually used some ancient Sanskrit rules that someone found on a cave long time ago, before there was even any written language, and how those rules are actually still applicable today. It's really cool how humanity is really universal, and getting back to these basic principles are what make us unique as beings on this planet, and how we can thrive as humans. Lauren Johnson and Matthew Chandler discussed the mindset behind a world-class fighter. If I were to have one takeaway from that conversation, it would be that the best, meaning the best people, do the basics better. I just thought that was so cool, because if you want to be the best, you got to be really awesome at doing the basics. Reminder to myself. Rick Jordan and Mike Kim discussed personal branding and their take on it, and how you can actually start building your personal brand. Rob Gill discussed money. Obviously, he's a finance guy, but he discussed it and how we can start leveraging it better in this economy by using some methods that, some of the higher elites, the people who actually have money, how they leverage money. He wants to kind of bring that to us, the little guys. And to bring it all home, what kind of happened around these bigger presentations were all these impactful testimonies of people who have, started to get into alignment with who they are. I thought that was very powerful, because a lot of people have overcome a lot of things, and to be in alignment with who you are based on what has happened in your past and where you want to go in the future was a beautiful thing. And some of it was very, brought a tear to my eye sometimes, and some of it was just very transformative and inspirational. And so I really thought that was a nice touch. All right, let's sum things up a bit. By the end of this thing, my mind was full, my passion was reignited, and some of my desires were rekindled for how I want to present myself to the world. That's enough of me yapping about this. Here are some things that some of my new friends are saying about what happened, what went down at AlignCon 2023.
For me, what this experience has been like is just a ton of confirmation of things that I feel like God has been putting in my life, a lot of affirmation of my calling, which is really like the whole point of this thing, is that you have a calling, you have a purpose, you have a story, and how do you align those things into the work that you do and actually get paid to do those things. So that's what this is all about, and it's been an incredible experience with really amazing speakers, and every single person I've met here has felt like family.
How am I finding the conference? It's more like it's finding me, right? It's piercing, it's authentic, it's not about like knowledge building, but it's about stripping away all that stuff that didn't belong in the first place. So it's a very different process, I find, and I'm really enjoying just like being seen and being found.
When you're aligned to who you are from a human design perspective, and your gift set, understanding yourself, that you can serve lots of people and use those gifts to serve others. But until you understand what that is, and you drop the mask or the lie that you have been telling yourself or someone else has told you, then you're stopping your potential. You're not fulfilling your true potential. And then you're not being able to be sent out into the world to make the unique impact that you currently only you can make.
So I'm gonna leave you with one last takeaway, and that is to ask for help. And I'll let my buddy Mike Kim sum it up for you right here.
Make the ask. Make the big ask. More often than not, if you don't ask, you're robbing them of the opportunity to help you out. You know, don't say no on someone else's behalf for them.
So here's a question you need to ask yourself. Who can help me get to where I need to go? Now go and ask that person. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.